Did you know we have 3 brains? So today's vlog is about the most important one, the gut. Pausing now for the intro. Hi, Fee here, the healthy vegan author and creator of the Gold Card Vegan website and club. Now there's an old saying, the first thought is always the best thought. The meaning is that when faced with a decision, regardless whether it is a big or small one, the very first thing that pops into your head is the one to go with. This is your intuitive instinct, and it comes from the gut. It's probably happened to you. I know it's happened to me so many times. But now I want to tell you a story of how following the intuition was a matter of life, or I won't say death, but maybe disaster. So many years ago, my daughter and her friend were traveling in Australia, and they were both young, adventurous, invincible, just as youth always is. They were in Perth and they decided that they wanted to head to Sydney, which is about 3,500 kilometres away. And the driving time is around about 40 hours, I think. Much of that road is through desert and outback Australia. Okay, so the girls didn't have a vehicle, and nor did they have really any money. So they decided that they would hitch a ride. Not the best plan, but through family, we were able to get them a ride on a long-haul truck. Now, the owner of the company waited until his most trusted driver, that he believed was going to be back and ready to head to Sydney. And he believed that this was going to be the best and safest way to get the girls there. So off they went, right? And probably 24 hours later, or a bit longer, I'm not sure, at around about midday back here in New Zealand, the phone rang, and it was my daughter, rather distressed. She was calling from a payphone in a truck stop in the back of Beyond. They had travelled for around the 24-hour period, and it had not gone well. So she told me that the driver had wanted more than just their company. And when her friend was asleep, she'd managed to ward off his groping hands, by shifting as far as possible to the side of the truck. He's still driving, okay? So get that picture in your head. However, by the time they got to the stop, she knew there was going to be no way that either her or her friend was going to be able to fend off any further advances without repercussions. Now, as a mother, miles away, it took all my strength to try and stay calm. She then told me that they had met another driver at the stop who said that they could ride with him. He was going to Sydney as well. He was from a different trucking company. He was pretty rough around the edges, and she explained to me, but he'd been kind and he'd seen how distressed the girls were. Now, all of this was happening in a very, very short matter of time, while the original driver was filling his truck up and tending to it, that sort of thing. And her phone call really was a mere blink of the eye. So then I asked her, what does your gut say? What's your intuition? And she said, to go with the other driver. And I said, then that's what you do, because regardless of what happens, your intuition will be right, and that's the path you must take. So while she was still on the phone, I got her friend to go and take the details of the new truck so that I could keep a record. Now, there's a lot more to the story, but that was that part. It was about 4 or 5 days before I heard from her. That was the entire journey down, and that was because they had no signal for phoning, etc. And you've got to remember, this was probably nearly 30 years, no, 20 years ago, we'll say. She safely arrived in Sydney, and she told me she'd had the best trip ever. The driver had told them stories and history of the places that they'd passed through and pointed out landmarks. And in return, the girls had kept him entertained with their music. They were buskers, by the way. So the gut had been right. So research has now discovered that information travels along a bundle of nerve fibers called the vagus nerve. And this nerve stretches from the brain stem down into the colon. But what makes it even more interesting is that the majority of information flows up the vagus nerve to the brain rather than down. So scientists also understand that the gut and the heart actually help in the overall process of thought, because neural pathways and their mechanisms can either inhibit or facilitate the brain's electrical activity. And what does this mean? It means keeping the gut healthy is paramount, because not only does it rule our physical body, it also helps in brain development. The best foods you can consume for optimum health are whole foods and plant-based. So, do yourself a favour. Not only feed your gut the right nutrients, but listen to what it says. That's it for today. Have a great day, and be kind to animals, including humans. Bye for now.